Welcome back to the Dinar Community channel, your trusted global resource for developments in currency reform and international finance. Today's update marks what many are calling a milestone moment in Iraq's ongoing financial transformation. The Iraqi Gazette, the nation's official legal publication, has released the full text of a pivotal new piece of legislation, a comprehensive four-phase exchange law. This legal breakthrough could fundamentally reshape Iraq's currency landscape and signal the country's broader economic evolution. For years, speculation surrounding a possible revaluation (RV) of the Iraqi dinar has generated considerable debate among investors and analysts. But now, rather than relying on rumor or hearsay, we finally have a legally binding framework that outlines how Iraq plans to modernize, stabilize, and potentially globalize its currency. Let's walk through each phase of this newly enacted law to better understand its implications, especially for IQD holders both inside and outside Iraq. Phase 1. Defining what qualifies as legitimate currency. The law opens by establishing formal criteria for what Iraq officially recognizes as exchangeable currency. This is more than a bureaucratic update, it marks a significant redefinition of the dinar's legal and financial standing. Key elements of this section include standards for issuance and authenticity, requirements for backing and reserves, defined roles for the Central Bank of Iraq (CBI) in overseeing compliance. What's especially important here is Iraq's move to align these standards with global financial norms, such as those used by the IMF and BIS. This signals a strong intention to integrate the dinar into internationally accepted frameworks. For investors, especially those in the US or Europe, this step lays the foundation for future global recognition. It also reflects a serious commitment by Iraq to treat its currency with the same rigor and credibility as other modern economies. Phase 2. Establishing a transparent exchange rate process. Perhaps the most anticipated section is Phase 2, which introduces a formal structure for how exchange rates are to be set, adjusted, and announced by the CBI. The law mandates that the CBI must follow a transparent process before making any exchange rate changes. All updates must be documented and publicly announced across verified platforms. Coordination with global institutions like the IMF is required before significant decisions. This development doesn't set a revaluation date, but it does eliminate uncertainty. Any future rate changes will occur through a clear, lawful, and internationally coordinated system, not behind closed doors or via sudden decisions. For global markets and IQD holders, this is a powerful sign that Iraq is building credibility and moving closer to full reintegration into the international financial ecosystem. Phase 3. Legalizing global interactions with the dinar. In this section, Iraq expands the law's reach beyond its borders by outlining how foreign banks, exchanges, and digital platforms can legally interact with the dinar. This phase introduces licensing requirements and compliance protocols for foreign entities, transparency standards for cross-border transactions, provisions for digital systems and blockchain integration. This is a critical step for US-based holders of dinar who have long waited for a lawful pathway to convert or trade their currency. The legal door is now open for platforms and institutions to offer dinar-related services under regulated conditions. More than just domestic reform, this section represents Iraq's outward-looking strategy, one that views the dinar as a currency ready for global participation, not just local use. Phase 4. Enforcing anti-fraud and anti-speculation measures. The final part of the law tackles a long-standing issue: currency manipulation, black market trading, and fraudulent exchanges. Key provisions include mandatory audit trails for high-value transactions, new oversight agencies with investigative powers, strict penalties for non-compliance, including fines, license suspension, and criminal charges. This reform sends a clear message: Iraq is cleaning house. It's creating a currency environment that's secure, regulated, and trustworthy, critical traits for attracting international interest. Without these safeguards, any currency reform would likely be viewed as unreliable. But with them, Iraq is positioning itself as a serious player capable of upholding global standards. Understanding redenomination versus revaluation. One common misunderstanding in the dinar community is the difference between redenomination and revaluation. This new law clarifies that redenomination is part of Iraq's modernization strategy. This process involves replacing large denomination notes, e.g., 25,000 Iraqi dinars, with smaller units, e.g., 25 Iraqi dinars while keeping the real-world value of holdings unchanged. Redenomination helps simplify daily transactions, combat counterfeiting, signal economic stability. It's not a devaluation. Instead, it's a cosmetic and technical upgrade, a move typical of countries emerging from high inflation and now seeking normalization. For dinar holders outside Iraq, understanding this distinction is crucial. This is not about losing value, it's about increasing credibility and functionality. Nationwide public education and transparency campaign. To ensure the public is fully informed, Iraq has launched a nationwide awareness campaign to explain the new law and redenomination plan. This includes TV and radio broadcasts, newspaper reports, community outreach programs, multi-language educational materials. The goal is to empower citizens and reduce confusion, especially in rural areas. By building an informed and vigilant population, Iraq can reduce the risk of scams, misinformation, and speculative chaos. This rollout demonstrates that Iraq is not just changing laws, it's investing in long-term financial literacy and public trust. International confidence and strategic positioning. The global financial world is beginning to notice. Gulf banks, Asian investors, and institutional analysts are closely watching Iraq's moves. Why the interest? Because Iraq's foreign currency reserves are now at their strongest level in decades, thanks to disciplined oil exports, tighter financial controls, and reduced corruption. This gives Iraq leverage and independence, reducing its need for foreign loans and increasing its ability to sustain meaningful reforms. This signals to investors that Iraq is not only committed to reform, it has the resources to make it last. A new era, from speculation to structure. For years, talk of the dinar has been dominated by hype, rumors, and speculation. But that phase is over. This four-phase exchange law is real, it's enforceable, and it's already being implemented. Ministries are aligning their systems, banks are upgrading compliance procedures, and the central bank is coordinating with global financial bodies. That's not speculation, that's governance. So what does this mean for IQD holders? Let's be clear, this law doesn't promise overnight wealth. It doesn't set a specific RV date. But it does create a path forward, one based on law, infrastructure, and real-world alignment with global financial systems. This means, the IQD is no longer stuck in ambiguity. Institutions can now legally recognize and interact with it. Iraq is laying the legal and economic foundation for future global engagement. Final thoughts. Be cautious, stay informed, and avoid scams. As excitement builds, so does risk. Scammers often use periods of uncertainty to exploit hopeful investors. Until the Central Bank of Iraq officially announces public exchange protocols, any offer made outside a licensed institution should be viewed as high risk and potentially dangerous. Protect your investment. Avoid private offers or unlicensed brokers. Wait for public announcements from official sources. Use only registered financial institutions. Conclusion. Iraq's financial future is no longer a dream, it's a plan. This four-step law is more than a financial reform, it's a declaration of intent. Iraq is no longer simply hoping for stability and recognition. It's taking structured, credible steps toward it. If you've been watching this journey from the sidelines, or holding IQD waiting for real momentum, this is your sign. Not a promise of instant gains, but a solid confirmation that the groundwork is finally being laid. Like and subscribe for more videos.